Hey y'all, well, it's Thursday before Good Friday, and I had looked up what that means, and it turns out it was G-U-O-D-E, Good Friday, and it stands for God Friday, God's Friday. And even though it's good for us, it's obviously horrible for Jesus. What made me think about this today? As I'm walking out under these beautiful trees and seeing this beautiful, beautiful environment, especially that tree right there. I love that one. It's just a beautiful environment here. The weather is sunny and there's a light, cool breeze. It's not even a warm breeze, it's a cool breeze. And I'm just sitting here thinking, there's the tree I was talking about. Isn't that gorgeous? It's like one of those, is that hemlock or what is that? It's beautiful. Pine tree. And there's all kinds of others. I always like this tree because it's two of them joined together. Look. Do you see the trunk? There's actually two trees there. And look at the sunniness. So pretty. And the birds are tweeting. Why am I telling y'all all this? You're like, Beth, thanks for the weather report and a nice garden view. Are you wondering why I'm talking about it? Because it looks beautiful, but a storm's coming. A storm's coming. You know, I looked at the weather report, and I live in the southeast, for those of you who don't already know, and it looks beautiful today. It looks like it's going to be beautiful a good bit of tomorrow, but when you look further back towards Mississippi, past Alabama, all the way to Mississippi, it's all the way down to the Gulf and all the way up past the state line, top of the state, and wide as the whole state. A red and yellow massive storm system. A storm's coming. A big bad storm. Why would I be talking about that on Good Friday? Because we just had Palm Sunday, where everything looked great. People are waving palms at Jesus, telling him how wonderful he is. You ever had that? You ever had a bunch of people just tell you they think you're great? But what you don't know is this fixing to take a turn, and they're going to stab you right in the back. Or have you ever had a job where you thought you were doing well, and it had nothing to do with your performance, but they just had to do a layoff? And that's just the way it is. They can't help it. The storm's coming. You know, when Jesus went to the Garden of Gethsemane, he already knew. That's what people forget. Jesus already knew before the beginning of the earth that day was coming. But he had not anticipated what it would feel like to be a human being. While Jesus was still fully God, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. It makes me so mad when people say he sat down being, you know, his rights to be God. No, he didn't. He was still God. He just didn't use his God powers. I know that sounds almost like a Marvel line, but it's the truth. Jesus could have saved himself, but he did not, so he could save you and me, because you know what he knew? A storm's coming. You see, while they gave us free will, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, which is really one God, one nature, God, we blew it, and that sin cost us our life. What he did by listening to another voice, and let me remind you, it is always the price of listening to another voice, is death. Don't listen to the enemy. Don't listen to Satan. Don't listen to that. Even if it's done with a little even if it's done with a little bit of a smile or a funny, you know, just one more of these won't hurt when you know it would. Oh, just this little fib. Well, it's not a fib, it's a lie. Well, you know, I know I've lived this one. I know it's expensive, but I'm worth it. And then you're in debt. That's why if you're going to buy it, save up for it. And even before that, do you really need it? Because sometimes I have to ask myself, Beth, do you really need another handbag or any more makeup in this whole world, or jewelry, or come on. And I do enjoy it. I do enjoy it, and I enjoy our channel and kind of talking about it and stuff like that. But sometimes you have to know, is that the voice of the enemy or the voice of God? Because one or the other, when you make a decision, is present. Actually, they're both present. Well, Satan's not all present. He's not all knowing. He's not omniscient. He's not omnipresent like God is. But there are assigned demons to different people. And if you're a Christian, I bet you got one assigned in your area. Maybe not to you personally. But Ephesians 6 tells us we don't wrestle against flesh and blood. We wrestle against rulers and authorities in high places. In other words, there's some sort of geographic assignment that they're in charge of. And we even see that when we see Michael the archangel at war with the Prince of Prussia. And it wasn't an actual prince, it was a demon that was assigned to Prussia. So it makes us go, so there's like a map of them or something. I don't know. There's definitely a system, and it's probably very organized, and you couldn't beat it if it weren't for the Lord, because a storm's coming. A storm is always going to be coming. Here's the thing you have to remember about storms. Before them, it is gorgeous. It's gorgeous. The whole reason I have this light breeze is that front's pushing it. And here's another thing about storms. After they're finished, you might have made it past the results. You may have made it outside of what happened. You may not be the one whose home was destroyed or a person in your family was killed. That may not be what happened for you. You may get bypassed. You may be protected from it, or you may be fully of the Lord and He loves you so much and you're going to be affected by that storm. Sometimes that storm has a different name than the weather channel. Sometimes it's the doctor's report. Sometimes it's a spouse who says, you know what? I'm just not in love with you anymore. Sometimes it's someone who's a fiance who says, I changed my mind, I don't want to get married. And all your dreams were resting on that. Sometimes it's a layoff. Sometimes it's y'all know all the things of life that we could use as an analogy as a storm. And let me tell you about storms. They're coming. They're coming. As long as we live in this world, they're coming. And for Jesus, in the Garden of Gethsemane, there was no getting around it. A storm was coming. But there's joy in the morning. You got to remember, 3 days later, He was resurrected. When you're in the storm. You know, sometimes we talk to each other, and sometimes y'all will make comments to me or ask questions, and I love that. But can I give you the best advice possible? And for one big piece of advice, storms are coming, but Jesus is resurrected. And so if you believe on Him, you'll be resurrected. So whatever you're dealing with in this life, it's temporary. It's temporary, and I know it hurts sometimes. And I know you think, how am I going to get through to the next day sometime? How am I going to pay the power bill? How am I going to feed these children? How am I going to get over my broken heart? I don't want it to be broken, but it just is. Beth, I know the storm's coming, but I couldn't prepare for it. I tried, but I couldn't. You know what people kept telling me about my mother when she was so sick? They said, Beth, you better prepare yourself. And I thought, okay. And I got prayed up and in the Word and surrounded myself with family and friends. It still hurt. It still hurts 8 years later since my mother was picked up by Jesus. She ain't hurting. She's enjoying heaven. And that helps. That helps. Y'all, it will help you too. If you remember, this is temporary. Jesus is eternal. If He is your Savior, oh my goodness. He's the resurrection and the life, and anyone who believes in Him will never die. But when we die, we will still live, and we will live in Him. And people go, what does that mean? Well, that doesn't make any sense. Well, yes, it does, because when we are loosed of our body here, we are free in the spirit with Him there. And you say, well, I don't know what it feels like to be a spirit. Well, that's okay. You got kind of an inkling of it. Just close your eyes. I won't, but close your eyes. That's you in there. That's your spirit in there. And that's going to outlast your body one place or another. So for those of you who don't know Jesus yet, may I remind you, there is another place that you will continue to exist, and it's horrifying, it's painful, it's agonizing, it's misery. Don't go there. You don't have to go there. You can go to Jesus right now, and you'll be in heaven starting right now. Is heaven on earth? No, it's not. But our eternity begins the second we make up our mind to turn our life over to Jesus. And He already knows we're not going to do that perfectly. The rest of your life is working out how to live for Him and do the things that He wants done instead of the things you want done. Let Him be God instead of letting you be God. But y'all, I already have a home in heaven now. And that's what I focus on. You see, when we're in the storm, yes, you have to batten down the hatches. If you're walking in it, you have to put up your umbrella. And if the storm's blowing your roof off, you got to take cover. But aside of all of that, what I need you to know today, there are practical things you have to do through the storm, is my point. But what I need you to know today is that's not where you focus. You get through. Christians should be helping each other to get through. We should and we do help each other to get through. Yes, yes, and more yes. But that's still not the focus. Because let's just say you need help getting some groceries. Just this month, it's tight. Let's say I go and buy you some groceries. Well, that's great. That's done. And that's what I should do. I should help you. And you should help each other. And we should help ourselves. But that's just temporary. In the big scheme of things, what really matters is there'll come a day when you don't have to worry about someone else breaking your heart. There'll come a day when you don't have to worry about how you're going to eat, how you're going to put clothing on your body, how you're going to take care of someone else. But you're not even worried about yourself. You're just trying to figure out how in the world you're going to take care of that child, or how in the world you're going to take care of that spouse who's had a stroke, and you are required 24/7, and y'all don't have that kind of money. What in the world are you going to do? And y'all, you can get so overwhelmed. But Jesus said, take one day at a time, one day at a time, one day at a time. Don't think too far out. Do we have to make some planning? Sure, of course we do. But even with that, things can fall through, and you will see God will provide anyway. Submit your life to Christ. He's given us some wonderful promises. And we need those promises because a storm's coming. Don't be afraid. Just be aware. Just be aware that a storm is coming. And we're going to make it through. Okay? We're going to help each other. Turn towards Christ. Focus on Him. We can help each other, but He is the ultimate help. And the thing to remember during the storm is it passes. It always passes. Beth, I don't know. No, it always passes. This storm that's coming, I don't know what it's going to mean. I don't know if it's going to mean tornadoes and damage. I don't know if it's going to bring deaths. All I know is it will pass. And whatever we have to deal with afterwards will also pass. Because this is a temporary place, and I have to focus on Jesus. That doesn't mean that you don't have pain and suffering, and that doesn't mean that we make light of that. That's a big deal, and we should be compassionate and caring to one another and help each other carry that load. But when the storm is coming, you focus on Jesus. Love you guys. Bye.